Good morning, Armor Down. Hope you slept well. Hope you're having good sleeping patterns. I was reminded last night that there's just nothing better than being able to lay down, fall asleep, and wake up and just be ready for the day. That's a total blessing. And for, I'd say 90% of the past month, that's been the way it is. Lay down, boom, fall asleep, wake up. But last night, I just had so much going on in my mind. Just all kind, every direction my mind went was a new kind of thing that's going on right now. We're moving into the most active part of kind of the Armor Down calendar, which is getting ready for Memorial Day, all the things associated with that. So there's that, and then there's everything at the War Memorial, which is the same kind of thing. It's a very, very busy time. And so what I experienced was just a lot of activity with my mind and a lot of predicting what's going to happen, what needs to happen. But what didn't happen was analysis. So I really want to emphasize that. A big, important part, maybe the most important part of the practice of mindfulness is non-judgmental awareness of what's going on in your mind and your body. And what that means is last night I had insomnia. It was kind of hard to fall asleep. I was tossing and turning and I felt the activation in my mind. I felt the rev. And for me, when my mind's revved up, I experience just activity. In the fundamental activity in my mind, when I know my mind is really kind of revved, is I'll have songs. Songs will start to play in my mind. It's like the exhaust of the effort of my mind is to have these songs. And so depending on how much my mind is revved up, the songs will show up. And part of that experience is the memory of what it feels like to know that I'm going to have a hard time falling asleep, the prediction of the next day being including more fatigue, et cetera, et cetera. So this is all a familiar place for me. And in the past, when I first started to study mindfulness, when I first started to interact with my mind, when things would go wrong or when things would go out of their normal patterns, I would analyze, why is this happening? What does this mean? And then I'd start predicting, oh, tomorrow's going to be terrible. Tomorrow's going to be this. Tomorrow's going to be that. I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to do that. And the experience internally turned into a much bigger experience. It became part of my identity. I am this. This is going to happen. And so the most important part of this kind of understanding is that's going to happen. You're going to have internal environments that are not the ideal. You're going to have a revved up mind. You're going to have an active body. You're going to have emotions. You're going to have sensation. But the practice involves being non-judgmental about that. So it's just the experience. And so one of the ways that Armor Down teaches to interact with the experience is by looking for how it shows up in your body, if it has any location, how intense is it. So for me, the location of the experience of the inner world at the time of falling asleep was songs in my mind. I can hear the songs in my head. How intense is that experience? The intensity was relatively minor. In the past, there have been massive intensity where it's so intense, it's so dominant, my mind is so revved that I can't even have a conversation because the songs are showing up as I'm trying to talk. It's just a total kind of, anyways, that's intensity. Direction, it's strange to think, but if you're able to be non-judgmentally aware of what's going on, you can be curious about your own thoughts. Like I literally feel the thoughts showing up from the right side of my head. Sound, thought, sound, music to the left. It's such a weird kind of thing to observe the direction that my thoughts are going in. It's such a weird thing. Like, wait a minute, how do I observe that? But truly, that's what you're able to do as you begin to kind of deepen your practice. So direction, depth, are these thoughts kind of, there's all these layers to the inner world, right? So there are these thoughts. How deeply am I thinking these thoughts? Are these deep down identity thoughts, or are these kind of just like the gear of my mind just churning? And then there's size, how big. So there is a kind of a level of internal volatility that has the biggest expression of it is what I call slam sounds. And that's where my inner world becomes skewed. It's as though I've kind of moved into a different level. And so the inner world becomes this strange place where the inner experience of the sounds, of thought, of projection, of prediction is weird. It's like being in an alternate world inside my own head. Thoughts have this weird reverberation. The sound of thought, the sound of sound itself has a weird reverberation. And I recognize this as a space of, okay, this is an indicator that I need to make some adjustments. And what I am understanding is those adjustments include and are built upon the practice. How often am I being still? How often am I practicing the 4 bells? How many times throughout the day am I getting to a place of stillness? Am I getting to a place of non-judgmental present tense awareness? How much am I building that into my day and into my routines? And if that routine is disrupted, or I just kind of say, forget about it, the buildup and the consequence is the volume. It's very much like my body now. I mean, I've noticed if I eat too much gluten, my body becomes bloated and uncomfortable. If I eat too much sugar, my body becomes bloated and I have this weird indigestion. It sucks. So my body has all these different responses for a certain behavior. Same with the mind. And so anyway, the key piece I want to leave you with today, the thing I want you to take away today, is that non-judgmental present tense awareness, that ability to perceive what's going on without identifying with it. The act of doing that facilitates the ability to have agency over it. If you are the things that are happening and it is you that's what's happening, then there's less of an opportunity to kind of see it as in a little bit of spaciousness and make changes. So I really want to emphasize that point today. Finding that place of stillness, recognizing stillness as kind of a base, understanding that base, practicing that base, and then seeing what it feels like, really being aware of what it feels like when you're taken off that base, when you're taken out of that place of awareness, and what it feels like to be spun up. There's never going to be a time when you're like, I've got it all figured out. I'll never be this again. Everything's going to be the same. That's just not how life works. So what you're looking for is that participation, that engagement. So I want to leave you with that for today. I really can't emphasize that point enough, that you've the non-judgmental part, non-judgmental present tense awareness, not judging what you're experiencing showing up. That's a really, really fundamental feature of the practice. So let's do it. Let's actually do the thing, which is just the coolest part about mindfulness, is we can just, okay, all right, intellectually got it. Now let's do it. Let's actually do it. So go ahead and make your adjustments for comfort. Looking for one to 2 degrees more comfort in your seat. Comes first bell. Senses: sight, sound, taste, touch, smell. Closing the eyes. First thing that jumps out is the space heater. The qualities of the space heater are to the right side, sound of the fan, heat. Location of the heat, I can feel it on my right hand, top of my right hand. Sense of touch, so the right side has the element of warmth compared to the left side. The left side of my arm, the left side of my body, furthest away from the heater, I can feel the cold. Other qualities of touch, I feel the neck gaiter around my neck. I feel the warmth inside of that. I can feel the chill in my back body. If I spread out my awareness, sounds around me. Besides the space heater, there's no sound. It's quiet. Sense of smell. Hardly any smell, but I notice as I focus in on smell that my nose is a little stuffed. The left nostril is more stuffed than the right. Sound of a bird just showed up to my left. Really noticing now the difference between the warmth on the right side, the coolness on the left. Noticing the neck gaiter around my chin and my cheeks, my neck. Just exploring the field of sensorial awareness. There's warmth in my belly, skin underneath I can feel the warmth of the jacket, the warmth of the shirt, the warmth of the undershirt. I can feel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different temperature patterns over my skin. And those temperature patterns, I can feel how those temperature patterns are relatively still. They're consistent. And as I drill down into them, I can feel my mind at the space of sensation. It's like my mind is moved out of my head into my body. It's spread out. It's gone from analysis or just activation, prediction, projection. It's gone from all those kind of time-oriented kind of things into the present moment kind of things. I can feel that. I can perceive the experience of my mind moving from an analysis to an experience. Okay, now I'm going to shift from that. If I can find this, shift from that into the body. So I'm going to take my mind. Now I'm going to take it into the body along the alignment of the body. So it's bell 2. Starting with the ground. So that's the way my feet and my bottom are connected to what's beneath me. The first thing that pops out in my ground is how I've got my legs crossed underneath me. Tops of the feet. The left heel and the way it's leaning against the inside of the right shin. The pull of muscles, the pull of the body at the legs. Again, noticing location of sensation and then how that sensation has kind of an epicenter and kind of spread out. So there's the epicenter of the pressure of my left ankle on top of my right leg. And then from there, the kind of the fullness of that sensation spreads out into areas of my legs and of my feet that don't have any real sensation. There's not a lot going on at all. From there, travel to the rear end. Rear end feels pretty comfortable, but right above the place where my bottom hits the cushion, I feel my lower back and I feel strained muscles. Maybe not strained muscles. I just feel a sense of kind of fatigue. There's just a little bit of sensation that expresses a sense of vulnerability, a sense of needing time to heal, needing time to recover. That's on the back side. On the front side, pubic bone area, there's the slight sensation of needing to urinate. It's very small. From there, come up into the core space. Core space, I can feel the belt buckle pushing into the belly. But if I go inside my core behind the belly button, there's a little bit of muscular tension there. If I move my core muscles around a little bit, I can feel how my core muscles are pulling on the groin on the right side. Not so much the left side, but on the right side. So I can feel that seat. It feels like my tailbone's tucked under a little bit. So I'm going to reach my butt back. See if I can create a little bit more space. It feels okay there. There's some pull on the right side that increased a little bit. Oh, now, okay. So now on the right side, the back of the thigh has some more sensation there. And I can totally feel the experience of being in my body, moving around from sensation to sensation. And it's like my mind, I can feel the quiet of my mind because the experience of my mind is consumed by the sensational qualities of my body. The focus is rendering my mind, it's giving my mind something to do as opposed to anything else. I'm just inside the moment of the sensations of my focus. From there, travel up the core. Let's go back to the core, release some tension there, maybe adjust a little bit. Okay, so I release the core a little bit, shift it a little bit, looking for comfort, finding that gentle feedback of the body, going up to heart space. Focus on heart space. I notice all the kind of layers of clothing. I can feel the long sleeves. I can feel the armpit region. I can feel the heated area of the vest I'm wearing. I can feel where my left arm, the back of my left arm, which is the furthest away from the space heater, has that cold, icy feeling. The right arm, not as much. But that difference in the quality of the experience, that difference isn't something to be fixed or something to be analyzed or something to be pondered or anything. It's simply the experience to be noticed. And that experience itself, giving the mind the task of the experience, changing the mind's patterns, bringing the mind into that non-judgmental present awareness. Traveling up throat space, just took a swallow, felt the kind of the slide of the spit down my throat, also the muscles of the throat. Doing that again, can feel the back of the throat. Noticing the sound of the vibration of the voice coming out of the throat. Traveling up to the head. It's now very much perceivable that my mind feels below my head. I can feel my attention at my kind of collarbones looking up at my head. It's like I've totally shifted where my mind is in my body. So now as I look up at my head, I can kind of visualize my head, can visualize my face. I'm looking up at my head. I feel like my chin is lifted a little high, so I'm going to drop my chin a little bit. Now I feel the back of my neck. There's a balance there. Traveling up the back of my neck, I can feel the weight of my whole head. I can feel the weight forward. I'm going to singularly focus on my facial features. So I'm going to focus on the forehead, soften the forehead, focus on the eyes, soften the eyes, focus on the nose, cheeks, mouth, soften. And just rest in the body for a moment. There's a lot of sensation that just kind of is there. Just notice some tension in my left hand, soften left hand. Now I notice the pressure on top of left knee, under left hand. All right, I'm going to shift to third bell. Just notice my breath as it is. Right away, I notice the beginning of the inhale, expansion of the inhale, and the release of that expansion on the exhale. Noticing immediately the parts of the breath. Now the location of the breath. I feel the breath in the belly. I feel the breath down. It feels kind of periphery, kind of close to the front. So I'm going to move around a little bit, see how that influences how the breath feels. Now expanding the breath, noticing the way the movement of the breath expands different areas of the body, the chest space. Maxing out inhales, softening exhales. Again, the mind is taking on the shape of the inner body, recognizing the way the mind is giving the inner body qualities of experience that I can notice. By focusing the mind on those qualities, the mind seems to absorb into the experience, giving the experience more experience. So there's greater subtlety and nuance to the experience as the mind absorbs into experience. Mind seems to slow, so slowing to the pace of the breath. Mind and breath are one. Every moment of the inhale is the moment of mind, the present. Each moment changes, getting to a place where it has to change direction. So the inhale is a finite amount of time, the exhale is a finite amount of time. There's just patterning, drawing the mind deeper into the pattern, deeper into the experience of the inhale, the exhale. Feeling the slowness. The internal quiet. Now I feel my heartbeat. So I'm going to shift the focus of the mind from the breath, kind of unabsorb the mind from the breath, pull the mind away from the breath, and send the mind into the heart. Noticing the beating of the heart, mind goes to heart. Fourth bell. Mind to heart. Mind is heart and mind is body around heart, signaling release, signaling allow heart to be, Let soft tissue around heart soften. Allow whole body to sway with beating of heart. And just present with heart beating, body swaying, slight little movement of the kind of heartbeat rippling through the upper torso, allowing the upper torso to kind of move with the heartbeat. Visualizing heart as not simply creating ripples through my body, but now visualizing those ripples extending out from the body. Mind becomes expression of heart. Now let's send that expression beyond self. I'm going to focus on suffering. I'm going to focus on those that I know are suffering. I'm going to visualize those that I know are suffering in my mind. I'm going to picture them in my mind. And then I'm going to keep the picture. It's going to kind of split my mind. I'm going to split my mind from the picture to the heart, to the expression of heart, the expression of compassion. Allow mind to turn into language of compassion, language in mind, visualization. Picturing suffering, picturing those that are suffering, friends, family that are suffering. Now visualizing heart beating, golden light, goodwill. Visualizing the ripples of my heart extending out, visualizing those extensions moving at the speed of light to the hearts of those that I know that are suffering. Visualizing a channel from my heart to theirs, holding that visualization. Now offering language from my mind into the heart, through the channel into their heart. Language of goodwill, language of acceptance, language of, I hope you find peace. More experience of just this light, goodwill, traveling from my heart to theirs, holding that link. Breaking the link, coming back into my own heart, back into the body, noticing the quiet. Notice the experience of the present, the quiet of my mind. Taking 2 full rounds of breath to finish. Second exhale finishes practice. The quiet's nice. It's a nice thing. I hope you found some quiet in this practice. It's just quiet. All right, armor down. See ya.